Welcome to Winning Begins at Home. I've been getting all up in your business this week, Fitness Week here on the podcast, and we've talked all kind of stuff. Gave you some workouts first couple of days. Yesterday, got into your food. Today, I want to talk energy a little bit. What if you could predict and optimize your energy levels throughout the day instead of just hoping for the best? We always say hope is not a strategy. When it comes to leadership, we get to work with all these all these companies, and we're trying to help them, with the culture and engagement and execution, all that stuff. And when it comes down to it, we say hope is not a strategy. I think so many people are maybe something's going to change. I don't think that's a really good way to think about our work, and I certainly don't think that's a way to think about our energy level. Old Ben Franklin once said, "Energy and persistence will conquer all things." And yet, how many people do I run into that really don't have the energy that they need? And by the way, if we don't have the energy, I think our persistence is gone. I think it was old Vince Lombardi one time, the coach of the Packers, who said, if you destroy the mind, the body will fade. Or I think it was the other way around. If you destroy the body, the mind will fade. And I think the same thing's true here. If you take a person's energy away, their persistence is not going to be very high at all. So Ben Franklin, you probably just needed to say energy will conquer all things. Because if you have energy, you're going to be persistent, hopefully. I mean, I know they're different. But I can tell you this, you will not be persistent if you don't have energy, for sure. And so there's some biology out. I used to actually teach biology, which was, it's kind of another crazy life that I was living in at that time, and wasn't qualified to be a biology teacher, but I did learn some stuff. But I got to a point where I was able to stay caught up with the students, which was good. But I ran across some biology stuff, some research that shows that most of us have our natural energy peaks around 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And I was talking to my wife just a couple of days ago. We had a new granddaughter last week, and the other two little granddaughters, there's the new baby's sisters, were hanging out with us, and my wife was with them, and she made the statement. She said, around 5, 6 o'clock, it's like they just went to another level. I mean, they were fired up. It was dinner time. They're having a good time, and they'd had a really great day. But it doesn't surprise me, because most people natural energy peak around 10 a.m. mid-morning and around 6 p.m. And there's a dip around 2 to 3 p.m., right? 2 to 3, which for the babies, that's true for them as well. They're, they have their little quiet time in the afternoon where they lie down, and most of them are napping as they get 4 or 5 years old. They still, they're still having some time. I think it's time actually for their moms to have a little break. But truthfully, my wife says we're just all taller children. I think all of us, we have this dip in the afternoon. That's not our most productive time for most people. It may be for you, but for most of us, 2 to 3 in the afternoon. And by the way, there are whole cultures that, they have siestas for a reason in certain parts of the world. They get this, and we're crazy enough to think we can just work through it and be productive and all that. And that's actually not, that's not reality. So I want to challenge you today to begin to think about your personal energy. You may need to get yourself a notepad and make some notes of when those times are that you feel strongest, when you feel most energized. Just start paying attention to it the next few days. And I'm guessing there's a rhythm in your life that is predictable. And by the way, the way we eat, what we talked about yesterday, it actually can affect this absolutely. But I would say let's start working with our rhythm rather than against it. And I think the studies show that we can actually increase our productivity by up to 25%. So how would you like to be 25% more productive? That would be pretty incredible. You actually possibly can, if you've not been thinking about the rhythms of your life and when your most productive times are. It's amazing. We actually can reduce our feelings of fatigue and some of that kind of stuff, which and our emotional well-being. All that's tied together with our energy. So I want to encourage you to begin to think about your natural, I guess they would call it the circadian rhythm, right? When is your life? When do you need to sleep, and when do you need to be up? And when you're up, when are you up when you're up? And when are you, when do you have these lulls? And I think there's some times that we can identify our peak performance times. If we can do that, we're on our way to more, like I said, more productivity. more joy, more energy, all that stuff. Want to work with our energy, as I said a moment ago, not against it. And I think there's some how would I think about this? There's maybe some strategic rest that we could build into our schedule once we know what our schedule is. And so if you're, let's say you have this 2 to 3 in the afternoon, is there a way to carve out 15 minutes where you can sit, close your eyes, rest, relax, and maybe you can take a nap. You may have an opportunity to get a nap. Great. Maybe there's a day or two during the week you can do that. I think there's some things that we can do there to make sure that we're taking care of our energy. And then one more thing I want to mention is I want to encourage you to begin to think about what energizes you, and then make sure you build some of that into your schedule. So many times we have energy that comes in when we do certain things, and then we don't find very much time to do those things. And on the opposite side of that, I think there are some people, some places, some things that drain us, and we end up around those people, in those places, doing those things, and we wonder why we're drained. We shouldn't. We want to make sure that we put ourselves in an environment where we're going to be energized. And by the way, if you're gonna do something that's draining, maybe this may not be good advice, I don't know, but I'm going to say it anyway. Maybe that's from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. That's your lowest productivity. We'll pick a low productivity task, maybe like email or I don't know. You'll have to think about it and connect your own dots. But let's make sure that we use our highest productivity times for our most important work. That would be really the correct way to think about it for me. So I think it starts maybe this week we're getting toward the end of the week, right? But in the next few days, let's create maybe a little bit of an energy audit mindset. I'm gonna start paying attention to my energy levels. I'm guessing you've not done that before if you've not really thought about this or heard about this. And so here's the action step. I want you to track your energy levels every 2 hours today on a scale of 1 to 10. Just go ahead and, or tomorrow, if you're listening to this in the evening, 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock, noon, 2, 4, 6, 8, just use those numbers. And every 2 hours, you might even put an alarm on your phone tomorrow for one day. One day. Give yourself a score on a scale of 1 to 10 every 2 hours. How am I doing when it comes to my energy? 10 would be my energy's off the charts. I'm raring to go. 1 would be I need a nap. I wish I was asleep. And look for patterns. And when do you feel the most energized? And you might want to do this for a couple of days. And we're going into a weekend here. You might even want to do that a little bit on one of the weekend days. You can do it however you want to, but I would encourage you for at least one day, pay attention to your energy patterns. Let's do a little bit of an energy audit here. It's not just something that happens to you. I'm convinced of that. It's something that we can actively manage. We can know our rhythms. We can lock into what we need when we're at our best, and we actually can move our numbers and affect those levels based on our exercise and the way we eat. Some of the things that we've talked about all week. If you've missed any of those episodes, hope you'll go back and check those out. Hope you'll continue to share with your friends and family. And I hope you'll come back tomorrow for our final episode here this week on Fitness Week. I think our movement, our food, our energy levels, they all can be medicine to us and help us to have the life that we want, a healthy, fit life, really where we can win, not just outside of work at home, but we also can win at work as well. That would be our goal for everyone here. We have an integrated life that really is paying attention to some of these things that maybe we know are important, but we really don't focus on the way we should. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us today. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you guys. Remember, winning begins at home.